am I doing this? She's home for Purim.
Yes.
I think that's a movie. It's got to be. I was thinking about your track record with crushes, Steffi. I may need to pick your next crush because I think back in, like, you remember when you had a crush on Michael Avenatti and then you've got cinema. So people you have crushes on either end up in prison or turn on the country.
This is true.
Okay. That is really true. All right, so listen. You've been off with fancy people, hanging out with soccer star Abby Wambach, among others.
I had a very fun weekend at work. It was one of my little, I do good work in this world, I know that, but that was a night where some of my little lesbian dreams got to come true, too.
Brandy Carlisle,
Yeah.
Glennon Doyle.
Love her.
Which cause was
And
this?
Sharice Davids. I got to hang out with Congresswoman Davids all night, and she's phenomenal.
It was
awesome.
What was the cause?
Oh, the Human Rights Campaign Gala in Los Angeles. They were honoring Brandy for her Visibility Award, and Glennon and Abby presented to her. David spoke, and then also we had Brian Michael Smith, an incredible trans actor, and I got to meet Laith Ashley, also a trans model who's been on the cover of like every fashion magazine, like workout magazine you can imagine. It was just a great night at work. It was nice.
Aw.
And I don't want to brag, but I'll be in Cincinnati this weekend for it.
All right. And you looked beautiful. I saw the pictures. You looked beautiful. But I bring up, Abby Wambach, among others, because we spoke about Brittany Griner last week, and this is her detention has been extended until May. Yeah. And, Dana, one of the things, it's just, we're watching one horrific war crime after another, but Russia lies literally about everything. And how do we know they found anything on her? Right.
I agree with that 100%. I would say I jumped to a conclusion I wouldn't normally jump to, and only because I had watched the video of them going through her bag, and there was packages that they were, whatever they were. But you're absolutely right. There's no way we don't know if the videos were doctored. This is Russia. We don't know if they were doctored. We don't know what was in those. We don't know if they switched a bag. Like, we have no idea. And without any information, we just have to assume it's Russia. And so regardless of the situation, she's in danger. Yeah. Whether she had that in her bag or not, she's in danger. She is a 6 foot plus black lesbian. In Russia. That's a problem, Yeah. And so that's what we need to be focused on. We talked about this before. If it was Brady would have been back home. It would have been all over the news.
I know. Well, yeah, I said that, but also, I was saying, particularly for something here that's legal, even if she did have cannabis cartridge vapes or whatever the hell it was, right? I mean, I did read an article, and this is just a touch, whether, like we said, we're just going to presume that she is innocent because it's until they can prove she's not. However, I read an article that a lot of the very rich Russian oligarchs run the Russian women's basketball teams. And so oftentimes they do things in Russia that other normal people don't. They're covered by these Russian oligarchs. But when the war started, when the invasion started, all the lockdown on the oligarchs, so it's possible that even the people that would have protected Brittany Griner, had she done something that would have been illegal in Russia, that protection was no longer there for them because they were staying out of the public because of this invasion. So everything happened at the same time. None of us know the truth about it. Yeah, exactly. Well, did we play chairmanship because I'm old? We didn't play this yet, did we? Okay.
Nope. Here we go.
We would need to bomb Russian air defense systems within Russia. We would be in a shooting war with Russian pilots, and that would profoundly risk essentially a war between the United States and Russia. But there's a lot I think we can do to help Ukraine shoot down those Russian aircraft, bring down those missiles.
Yeah, we were talking about, obviously Zelensky's unbelievably powerful speech and video, which I challenge anybody that didn't cry. I don't know how how you could get through that without it. But, we were talking to Representative Auchincloss earlier, who's also a vet. And it's just, I think a lot of, and even Zelensky seemed to acknowledge that we're not going to do a no-fly zone. I mean, Ukraine is huge, first of all, like to do a no-fly zone over the entire, and I think as Chairman Schiff was saying, there's a lot of other ways to do it. And it sounds like Biden has given them a lot of that. Malcolm Nance just said yesterday, these very kinds of drones that Biden just said, those were what they need. And that being said, I do think we should get them the planes one way or another. again, know the logistics of that between us and NATO and whatever. But
Right.
that's another way to close the skies, which is what he said and what the video said, right?
100%. I just wish everything wasn't so public these days with
Thank
the media,
you.
because that's one of the reasons we can't do anything. Not can't. It's harder to help a country like that because there's such a big spotlight on us. It puts us in a position of danger immediately whenever there's talk about America sending this or that or this or that.
Yes.
And then you've got Putin going, I'm going to destroy anyone who's in the way.
And you have one party that is infiltrated by traitors. I'm sorry, I don't know what other way to say it. Marjorie Taylor Greene calling them NATO Nazis. Tucker Carlson, the leader of their party, Donald Trump. You've got Kevin McCarthy. All they're talking about, how do we score political points? How do we undermine Biden?
Right.
Here's Kevin McCarthy.
You've watched a leader stand in a Capitol that's being bombed, not requesting that American men and women go into war. Simply help us provide the weapons that we can defend ourselves. This is an unwarranted war that they did not ask for, but they're willing to defend the right of freedom. We should stand with anyone who's willing to defend freedom and against the atrocities that Putin is doing.
Oh, my God. Does no one ask him? You were for letting off the guy that just withheld all this aid to Ukraine and tried to extort. That guy you're now talking about is what a hero. Do you know how much more aid? I don't know. Do I have the number in front of us? How much more aid Biden has already given Ukraine?
I think
than
it was
Trump
800 million.
No, but I
That
mean,
just
than
went through
more
again. Even from the
than
beginning.
Trump did. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just, again, you cannot let them rewrite. He's out there going, I gave him evidence that Biden's giving him blankets. It's like, no, he's given them, first of all, as Zelensky said, they've been at this war for 8 years, so he desperately needed that stuff that Donald Trump withheld for a long time, and people died because of it. And it's just, it just makes me crazy that any of the McCarthys of the world can get away with saying anything. Anyone that voted not to hold Trump accountable for withholding should shut their yap now about, 100%. Biden's not sending enough aid. Or, I mean, it's unprecedented, the amount of aid and military. I don't have it in front of me again. Travis, do you, what he just sent? But it's tons of military equipment and all of that stuff.
$800 million in addition to, it brings the total up for just this week to $1 billion.
Yeah. So, anyway, but I do think we should figure out, again, above my pay grade, what did Representative Auchincloss say? The Ukrainian pilots could go get them wherever they are.
Yes.
Where? Germany and Poland?
We'll take the pilots to the planes, and they'll fly. Yeah.
Yes. So again, I think we should get them everything, including planes, that they need. Don't you?
I mean, I do at this point. I mean, we've seen listen, if Putin wants to attack us, he's already done it in our cyber world. If he wanted to attack us, he would have done it by now. I hate to say this, and I could be wrong. I'm not an expert in any of this stuff. I just think these empty threats, when we've seen how, not ineffective, but how disappointing his military was, probably to him, and how embarrassing a lot of this has been for him. So he's coming out with these threats of like, oh, anyone who messes with us. We have the most powerful military in the world.
Yeah. And we're seeing that he doesn't. That's what's humiliating, is that he's
Absolutely.
begging for foreign soldiers and for help financially from China. And, this clearly has been a debacle for him. And so, I think that's, anyway. Okay. Yes, Kevin McCarthy with the nerve to go on further. Kevin McCarthy yesterday.
I've had conversations with the president long before this moment came. My advice to him was provide them the armament earlier to deter Putin from ever making these decisions. And the entire time, President Biden always said it would be the sanctions afterwards. And then when the sanctions came, he said it'd take months to work. Well, Ukrainian people cannot wait months. The world cannot wait months if we sit by and watch innocent people being murdered.
Infuriating. I know.
God.
Trump withheld $400 million in aid.
For how long?
$400 million.
And only when they blew the whistle on him.
Until he
when
got
Patriots
caught.
like Vindman and others blew the whistle, and it was about to run out the congressional aid. Who was holding that microphone that let him say that without? Oh my God!
That was
Dana.
a podium. He was speaking.
I just can't. This is like we have all been struck in the head and have no short-term memory, right?
And unfortunately, they're going to do this until the midterms, until the next election. Biden's problem with the gas prices. Biden didn't give Ukraine what they needed. Biden this, Biden that. And we know damn well, all of us know that that's not the case. But unfortunately, the base and everyone that supports that guy is going to believe all this crap.